thank you everybody for coming and being here for our presentation of Midsummer Night's Dream. My name is Nathan Agan. I'm the host and producer of the Working Actor's Journey and these workshops that we've been calling the Working Actors Shakespeare. And these workshops, what we've been doing is over the past month, these groups get together once a week. And really the focus has been about the text. Rarely do actors and artists have the opportunity to spend such an amount of time on one scene, and yet all of them can attest that there is so much to explore in one scene. So that's been really fun to use this medium to be able to do that, in these scenes. And we have a number of presentations this week. Midsummer tonight, Julius Caesar on Wednesday, King John on Thursday, and As You Like It on Friday. By signing up, we'll definitely let you know about future workshops and other things, whether you want to get involved as an actor or as an attendee. We're also excited that we just recently launched this coaching program that, for many of the actors and artists that you see this week, you can book time directly with them, whether you need to work on an audition, a Shakespeare piece, acting in general, singing, so we have that system all over at the workingactorsjourney.com, and you can book time directly with many of the people you see. Just a couple other quick housekeeping items. As I mentioned up top, but just again, if you have any questions, you can put those in the Zoom chat box. And I'll see those and I'll collect those. Depending on time, we can also do some Q&A at the end. I will be sending out a replay link. It may take a few days just to kind of get everything processed, but we'll send that out to everybody who's signed up. Let me quickly introduce everybody, and I'll just go in the order that they're on my screen. So we have Angie Byrd playing Helena. Gideon Rappaport is the dramaturg. He's been, the dramaturg on all the scenes over the workshop. James Newcomb is the director. Garrett is Lysander. Maggi Veltre is Hermia, and Michael Kirby is Demetrius. So, all right, I think that's it for me. I will turn it over to Gideon Rappaport to share a little bit about this scene that you will see, just to kind of bring you up to speed. And again, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Nathan. I'm going to say 20 things about this play and then try to narrow it down to get us into this scene. It's a very lyrical play. It's about the nature of love. It involves two pairs of lovers, the Theseus and Hippolyta, mythical creatures, Oberon and Titania, fairy creatures, and mechanicals. We won't see them tonight. And a play within the play called Pyramus and Thisbe. It combines Greek myth and English fairies and an idealized English court and local English workers. And it takes place in court and in the forest. So to set this scene is Act 3, Scene 2. We're in the middle of the play. In the very beginning, Demetrius loves Helena and Lysander loves Hermia. But Hermia's father wants Hermia to marry Demetrius instead of Lysander. And Demetrius now thinks, because of that, that he's in love with Hermia. So Lysander and Hermia escape to the forest to run off to an aunt who will protect them from the forbidding father and king who want to separate them. And during the night, and then the other two lovers follow after them, one to chase Hermia and the other, Helena, to chase Demetrius. So they've spent the night in the forest. And while that's going on, the fairy king has dropped some, let's say, the juice of a love flower into their eyes. And the result is they wake up and the two boys, instead of now being in love with Hermia, are both in love with Helena, or we'll actually see one of them waking up. And so what we're going to see is the four lovers in the forest after this night of magic juice in the eyes, sending some people back to whom they should love and other people away from whom they should love. and the resulting hijinks is what we're going to hear. We're going to hear it in a highly rhetorical style, which in Shakespeare's time is not the enemy of naturalness or truth, but the opposite. It is the vehicle of deep emotion and strong feeling and truth. So prepare yourself for a highly rhetorical set of conversations among these four lovers. And I think that's all I want to say to set the scene. They're waking up in the forest after a night of confusions.
Hi, hi everybody. Thanks for joining us. I'm James Newcomb, and I have been involved in, I think, 10 productions of Midsummer Night's Dream of various kinds. I played Puck 4 times, and terrifying. Anyway, you're about to see, as Gideon set up, what I think is the most physical of all of the scenes in Midsummer Night's Dream, and a play that I believe is highly physical. One of the challenges about working on this particular scene, because it is so physical, was to try and get, as Gideon said, the rhetorical aspects of this scene clear. One of the paradoxes about productions when it's on stage is that you can oftentimes lose part of the rhetorical aspects of the scene because it's over physicalized or mistakenly physicalized. So one of the things that we worked on was to try and use the language specifically to imply action, to imply movement, and see if we could let the language carry us, but also get a sense of physicality by using the language. So that's what we worked on. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to sign off and pass it over to the actors, who it has been a joy to work with. So goodbye.
Oh, why rebuke you him that loves you so? Lay breath so bitter on your bitter foe.
Now I but chide, but I should use thee worse, for thou I fear hast given me cause to curse. If thou hast slain Lysander in his sleep, being o'er shoes in blood, plunge in the deep and kill me too. The sun was not so true unto the day as he to me. Would he have stolen away from sleeping Hermia? I'll believe as soon this whole earth may be bored, and that the moon may through the center creep, and so displease her brother's noontide with the Antipodes. It cannot be but thou hast murdered him. So should a murderer look, so dead, so grim.
So should the murdered look, and so should I, pierced through the heart with your stern cruelty. Yet you, the murderer, look as bright, as clear as yonder Venus in her glimmering sphere.
What's this to my Lysander? Where is he? Ah, good Demetrius, wilt thou give him me?
I'd rather give his carcass to my hounds.
Out, dog, out, cur! Thou drivest me past the bounds of maiden patience. Hast thou slain him then? Henceforth, be never numbered among men. Oh, once tell true even for my sake. Durst thou have looked upon him being awake? And hast thou killed him sleeping? Oh, brave touch! Could not a worm and adder do so much? An adder did it, for with doubler tongue than thine, thou serpent, never adder stung.
You spend your passion on a misprized mood. I am not guilty of Lysander's blood, nor is he dead, for aught that I can tell.
I pray thee, tell me then that he is well.
And if I could, what should I get therefore?
A privilege, never to see me more. And from thy hated presence part I so. See me no more, whether he be dead or no.
There's no following her in this fierce vein. Here, therefore, a while I will remain. So sorrow's heaviness doth heavier grow for debt, that bank-wrought sleep doth sorrow owe, which now in some slight measure it will repay, if for his tender here I make some stay.
Why should you think that I should woo in scorn? Scorn and derision never come in tears. Look, when I bow, I weep, and bow so born in their nativity all truth appears. How can these things in me seem scorn to you, bearing the badge of faith to prove them true?
You do advance your cunning more and more. When truth kills truth, oh devilish holy fray. These vows are Hermia's, will you give her o'er? Weigh oath with oath, and you will nothing weigh. Your vows to her and me put in two scales will even weigh, and both as light as tails.
I had no judgment when to her I swore.
Nor none in my mind now you give her o'er.
Demetrius loves her, and he loves not you.
Oh, Helen? Goddess, nymph, perfect, divine, to what, my love, shall I compare thine eyne? Crystal is muddy. Oh, how ripe and show thy lips, those kissing cherries tempting grow, that pure congealed white, high Taurus' snow, fanned with the eastern wind, turns to a crow when thou hold'st up thy hand. Oh, let me kiss this princess of pure white, this seal of bliss.
Oh, spite! Oh, hell! I see you all are bent to set against me for your merriment. If you were civil and knew courtesy, you would not do me thus much injury. Can you not hate me, as I know you do, but you must join in souls to mock me too? If you were men, as men you are in show, you would not use a gentle lady so. To vow and swear and superpraise my parts, when I am sure you hate me with your hearts. You both are rivals and love Hermia, and now both rivals to mock Helena, a trim exploit, a manly enterprise. To conjure tears up in a poor maid's eyes with your derision. None of noble sort would so offend a virgin and extort a poor soul's patience, all to make you sport.
You are unkind, Demetrius. Be not so, for you love Hermia, this you know I know. And here, with all goodwill, with all my heart, in Hermia's love I yield you up my part, and yours of Helena to me bequeath, whom I do love, and will do till my death.
Never did mockers waste more idle breath.
Lysander, keep thy Hermia. I will none. If e'er I loved her, all that love is gone. My heart to her but as guestwise sojourned, and now to Helen is home returned, there to remain.
Helen, it is not so.
Disparage not the faith thou dost not know, lest to thy peril thou abye it dear. Look where thy love comes, yonder is thy dear.
Oh, dark night, that from the eye his function takes, the ear more quick of apprehension makes, wherein it doth impair the seeing sense, it pays the hearing double recompense. Thou art not by mine eye, Lysander, found. Mine ear, I thank it, brought me to thy sound. But why unkindly didst thou leave me so?
Why should he stay whom love doth press to go?
What love could press Lysander from my side?
Lysander's love that would not let him bide. Fair Helena, who more engilds the night than all yon fiery O's and eyes of light. Why seek'st thou me? Could not this make thee know the hate I bear thee made me leave thee so?
You speak not as you think, it cannot be.
Lo, she is one of this confederacy. Now I perceive they have conjoined all three to fashion this false sport in spite of me. Injurious Hermia, most ungrateful maid. Have you conspired? Have you with these contrived to bait me with this foul derision? Is all the counsel that we two have shared, the sisters' vows, the hours that we have spent when we have chid the hasty-footed time for parting us? Is all forgot? All school days friendship, childhood innocence? We, Hermia, like two artificial gods, have with our needles created both one flower, both on one sampler sitting on one cushion, both warbling of one song, both in one key, as if our hands, our sides, voices, and minds had been incorporate. I mean, so we grew together like a double cherry, seeming parted, but an union in partition, two lovely berries molded on one stem. So with two seeming bodies, but one heart. And will you rent our ancient love asunder to join with men in scorning your poor friend? It is not friendly. 'Tis not maidenly, our sex, as well as I may chide you for it, though I alone do feel the injury.
I am amazed at your words. I scorn you not. It seems that you scorn me.
Have you not set Lysander as in scorn to follow me and praise my eyes and face, and made your other love, Demetrius, who even but now did spurn me with his foot, to call me goddess, nymph, divine and rare, precious, celestial? Wherefore speaks he this to her he hates? And wherefore doth Lysander deny your love so rich within his soul, and tender me, forsooth, affection? But by your setting on, by your consent, what though I be not so in grace as you, so hung upon with love, so fortunate, but most miserable to love unloved, this you should pity rather than despise.
I understand not what you mean by this.
I do. Persever. Counterfeit sad looks. Make mouths upon me when I turn my back. Wink each at other. Hold the sweet jest up. This sport well carried shall be chronicled. If you have any pity, grace, or manners, you would not make me such an argument. But fare you well. 'Tis partly my own fault, which death or absence soon shall remedy.
Stayed until Helena, hear my excuse. My love, my life, my soul, fair Helena.
Oh, excellent.
Sweet, do not scorn her so.
If she cannot entreat, I can compel.
Thou canst compel no more than she entreat. Thy threats have no more strength than her weak prayers. Helen, I love thee, by my life I do. I swear by that which I will lose for thee, to prove him false that says I love thee not.
I say, I love thee more than he can do.
If thou say so, withdraw and prove it too.
Quick, come.
Lysander, where to tends all this?
Go away, you raven's claw.
Oh, no, no, no. He'll seem to break loose. Take on as you would follow, but yet come not. You are a tame man. Go.
Hang off, thou cat, thou burr, vile thing. Let me loose, or I will shake thee from me like a serpent.
Why are you grown so rude? What change is this, sweet love?
Thy love? Out, tawny Tartar, out. out loathed medicine, oh, hated potion hence.
Do you not jest?
Yes, sooth, and so do you.
Demetrius, I will keep my word with thee.
I would I had your bond, for I perceive a weak bond holds you. I'll not trust your word.
What? Should I hurt her, strike her, kill her dead? Although I hate her, I'll not harm her so.
What? Can you do me greater harm than hate? Hate me? Wherefore? Oh, me! What news, my love? Am not I Hermia? Are not you Lysander? I am as fair now as I was erewhile. Since night you loved me, yet since night you left me. Why then you left me. Oh, the gods forbid. In earnest, shall I say?
Aye, by my life, and never did desire to see thee more. Therefore be out of hope, of question, of doubt. Be certain, nothing truer. 'Tis no jest that I do hate thee and love Helena.
Oh, me! You juggler, you canker blossom, you thief of love. What, have you come by night and stolen my love's heart from him?
Oh, fine faith. Have you no modesty, no maiden shame, no touch of bashfulness? I mean, what will you tear impatient answers from my gentle tongue? Fie, fie, you counterfeit, you puppet, you.
Puppet! Why so? Aye, that way goes the game. Now I perceive that she hath made compare between our statures. She hath urged her height, and with her personage, her tall personage, her height forsooth, she hath prevailed with him. Are you grown so high in his esteem because I am so dwarfish and so low? How low am I, thou painted maypole? Speak, how low am I? I am not yet so low, but that my nails can reach unto thine eyes.
I pray you, though you mock me, gentlemen, let her not hurt me. I was never cursed. I have no gift at all in shrewishness. I'm a right maid for my cowardice. Let her not strike me. You perhaps may think because she is something lower than myself that I can match her.
Lower again? Hark!
Good Hermia, do not be so bitter with me. I evermore did love you, Hermia. Did ever keep your counsels, never wronged you. Save that in love unto Demetrius, I told him of your stealth unto this woods. He followed you, for love I followed him. But he hath chid me hence and threatened me to strike me, spurn me, nay, to kill me too. And now, so you will let me quiet go, to Athens will I bear my folly back and follow you no further. Let me go. You see how simple and how fond I am.
Why, get you gone. Who is that hinders you?
A foolish heart that I leave here behind.
What, with Lysander?
With Demetrius.
Be not afraid, she shall not harm thee, Helena.
No, sir, she shall not, though you take her part.
Oh, when she's angry, she's keen and shrewd. She was a vixen when she went to school, and though she be but little, she's fierce.
Little again? Nothing but low and little? Why will you suffer her to flout me thus? Let me come to her.
Get you gone, you dwarf. You minimus of hindering not grass made, you bead, you acorn.
You are too officious in her behalf that scorns your services. Let her alone. Speak not of Helena. Take not her part. For if thou dost intend never so little show of love to her, thou shalt abide it.
Now she holds me not. Now follow, if thou darest, to try whose right of thine or mine is most in Helena.
Follow? Nay, I'll go with thee cheek by jowl.
You, mistress, all this coil is long of you. Nay, go not back.
I will not trust you, I no longer stay in your cursed company. Your hands than mine are quicker for a fray. My legs are longer, though, to run away.
I am amazed and know not what to say.
Yay! Yay, well done, everybody. Well done.
Wonderful.
That was
Had me
terrific.
laughing out loud.
What, Gideon?
You had me laughing out loud.
I know, I was too, and I'm sure other people were, and that's one of the cruelties about Zoom, is doing comedy in a void. You can't hear any laughter, you don't get any response, you know? It's so hard because I'm sure other people were laughing as well. It's just such a great scene, and you did it so well. And you know, one of the joys about doing Shakespeare, particularly comedy in Shakespeare, is when you land a joke that people have been laughing at for 400 years.
Yes.
400 years they've been laughing at that joke.
Yeah.
You know, audiences have heard that joke for 4 centuries. And they've laughed at the same place. I mean, it's extraordinary. It really is. And I just, as I was watching it, I suddenly was struck by how, you know, how difficult in the present circumstances it is to be doing this scene on Zoom in a void without getting any audience response. You know, it just seems doubly cruel. Sorry, but. It really does, and just lovely, really well done. You really terrific,
Jamie.
I even lost my picture partway through. So I was like going to nothing.
Yeah.
Oh, Lord.
Just the camera.
Oh, God.
Yeah, I couldn't. I actually, for some reason, I couldn't get all 4 of you on my screen. In boxes, so I would highlight, spotlight one of you as it would go sort of back and forth and back and forth. So I could focus on one person who was speaking and focus on. At one point, I had Angie spotlighted for quite some time, and that was fascinating. The idea that you focus on a character, which you would never do on stage, but you just focus on an actor or character and just watch them respond. Yeah. You're not looking where the focus is supposed to be. You're just looking at that actor and that character and how they're responding to what's happening and whether they're really engaged or not, you know, or whether they've checked out because they know that the focus isn't on them.
Yeah, how'd I do?
No hiding.
When the focus isn't on you, you're just like blank. You know, it's like somebody's looking at me. They're looking at. Oh, now I'm on.
Well, yes, yeah. I'll echo. Congrats, everybody. It was a great scene, and there were some. At kind of best we can do, there were some applause emoticons flying around. So you did get the the response from the crowd. And yeah, Jamie, there was one moment where I was watching Michael just responding. I think it was the part where HELENA speaks about all the things DEMETRIUS had done to him in the past, and it was great that you had an opportunity to really watch everybody, you know, in the scene and just see how does everybody respond to it. So yeah, you know, and just to fill in people a little bit more, I mean, you know, these weeks have really been about, you know, trying different things and you know, even, you know, going through different exercises, all on this crazy medium here. And what I love is that because we really only can do the text, it makes the text that much clearer. And I'm myself listening to the scene over the last few weeks, it was still so clear, and I was still hearing new things, and I was still following it. Like, it just made sense. And I love the point, Jamie, that you brought up at the top, that sometimes a lot of that can get lost in the physicality of the scene. And so I think that's really, I thought it was really great. You know, I can launch into some questions, but you know, I want, if you guys want to work on anything, that's fine. But if you're happy with the scene as is, I think that's wonderful too.
Well, I mean, gosh, we could, you know, we could keep working on it forever, couldn't we? I mean, it would never end. You know, there's always something to find. That's the glory of it. That's the true magic and mysticism and glory of Shakespeare, is that there's always something to find.
Yeah.
There's always something new. There's always something, you know, that you personally can find, and also in context, in relation to the person you're working on the scene with. You know, and in this case, there's 4 of us, and these 4 people have never done this scene before. You know, and I always say this, by definition, it's definitive, because these 4 people have never done this scene before, and so it's definitive. You know, and we could work on it. You could just keep working on it, and we would find new things all the time.
Right. Well, I would love to hear, you know, from some of the actors, you know, what either maybe any ideas or expectations you might have had coming into this, and things that you discovered, you know, however much experience you had with Shakespeare or Midsummer specifically, what you kind of learned about this, because there were certainly things I learned about the scene and about these characters' relationships and their histories based on the work that you guys did and brought to life. So I'd love to hear from any of the actors, you know, what your kind of takeaways or experiences were with the scene.
Well, I've played it a couple times, and it was kind of fun to have all the words in there. Because that long speech of hers about the 2 and the needle and
right, the cherries, yeah,
is usually like trimmed down to like half. So that was kind of fun.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been so long since I've been able to do Shakespeare on stage for various reasons, but it's so wonderful to realize, as you were saying, there's so much more to mine, Jamie. There's so much more to find. There's so much more to learn. There's so many little things you could pick at. And Gideon, you brought so much to the dramaturgy of it, in which learning about what the implications of the love juice is, and the truth that it brings out, as opposed to, for some, as opposed to others, or different relationships. So, you know, I learned a lot, and you can never stop learning.
I think bringing back to a point that Jamie made earlier about this being like a very physical scene, and having done it, like I remember the physicality of it, and it being a lot of fun. But doing it this time, it's like rhetorical acrobatics, I think, is what kind of hits me. Like, I've never focused so much on just like where the double antithesis is, and then having to like hearing just how each individual actor is taking this thing and like lifting this up a little bit, and like how much detail just goes into just that rhetorical aspect of it. It's a joy.
It's fantastic for me. The direction was great. To be looking through and just always looking for any evidence for a turn, to do something a little bit differently, to change the voice, and to listen to the direction to the other actors too, and to hear the changes that happen for them. It was just, it was such a rich atmosphere. I'm really, really grateful. I hope I got some of it across.
You got a lot of it across.
Once or twice.
I want to commend everybody for such a wonderful performance. First of all, the amount that it's grown since we started is just fabulous. And secondly, and dear to my heart, I'm always telling you, as you know, that in Shakespeare's time, people went to hear a play rather than see it. They saw it too, obviously, but the main thing was the language. And you proved tonight that it's all you need, Zoom or no Zoom. The language does the work. So I just hope that everybody who goes back onto the stage, once we can get back to the stage, remembers that there's all this rhetorical richness going on when the director's pushing them around the stage and blocking the second day. It pays to spend a little time on the text.
Well, you know, Gideon, I have to say, this may be a benefit coming out of the pandemic in working on Shakespeare, that maybe you should spend some time on Zoom just working on the text before you actually get into the room and start working on the physicality of it.
I completely agree. I mean, you can work in person or on Zoom. It doesn't matter as long as you spend some time on the text.
I mean, I was in a production of Lear several years ago, and we didn't do any table work at all.
Yeah, well.
Well, yeah, and I
How'd
think
that turn out?
I think that's your answer.
It was not deep.
It's not fair to ask that question in public, is it? Sorry.
No, I mean, you know, I mean, it was, I can't, yeah.
No.
Well,
no,
I mean, it's.
I apologize.
No. Well, I think what it gets at is at a certain level, whether or not it's proper or not, it's just expected. Well, the actors are doing all that work on their own, and I think what we see here and what we've seen here is that it's so helpful to have someone else listening and have someone else working through. So whether or not an actor is experienced with Shakespeare's text, it just to have that other set of ears and eyes on it, it can be so invaluable, because they'll pick up things that you wouldn't have seen that first day, you know, as you're working through it yourself. And Jamie, I wanted to ask, since you've worked on Midsummer so much and in many different ways, were there new things you found or things that you had thought about before that you were able to explore, you know, in this working of it?
Yeah, well, you know, you're always at the mercy of, to a degree, of designers. You know, and what decisions have been made by directors and designers before you even get to the room. You know, I mean, I did one production at Smith College where it was like an MC Escher design. And that's one of the things about Midsummer Night's Dream in its parameters of, you know, the variance, what you can do, you know, in creating the world, you know. I mean, you need the court and you need the forest. And what is that forest? What happens, you know, what's that environment? And so in terms of the structuring of the play within the context of decisions that have been made about the space and what challenges there are as a result of that, dictates a lot. You know, you have to be creative about what you have in the space. So that being said, you know, you want there are certain aspects about the nature of the text of Midsummer Night's Dream that are just inherent. And if you have a good dramaturge like Gideon, or you have, you know, that is clear about the rhetorical aspects of the play, you're going to get a lot of that. But oftentimes the physicality can take over. I remember one of the times that I played Puck, for example, when Oberon sent me off to get the flower, he hit me in the back and we were on the deck and I fell through a trapdoor into the basement. This was in Ashland at the Elizabethan Theater. And in the time it takes, which is about, I would say, 30 seconds or so before Puck returns with the flower, I ran from the bottom of the Elizabethan all the way up to the musicians gallery. And I had everybody clear the space so that I could get up there and appear in the musicians gallery above. And, you know, it elicited a new from the audience because it looked like magic. And I, knew that it didn't matter if I was panting, because in the Elizabethan space in Oregon, nobody could tell. I just had to be able to get the language out. Here it is. And I threw this parachute of the flower that came down and floated down into Oberon's hand. Now, that was something that we came up with at the time, and the delivery of the flower of Puck to Oberon has been done a billion different ways, tens of thousands of different ways, depending on the circumstances, so again, there's, Nathan, that's a loaded question, because anybody that's read Simon Callow's book, I, An Actor, whatever that thing is, about how great he was as an actor, but at the end of it is a wonderful sort of essay about the difficulty of actors coming into a circumstance of a production where all the decisions have been made before you get there. And then you have to plug yourself into the capacity of the directors and the designers that have already made all the decisions about the world. It's like, I'm so excited to play Caliban, but now I realize I'm going to do it on roller skates and a tutu. How do I wrap my head around that? You know what I mean? How do I? And in this play particularly, depending on what decisions have been made, you kind of have to adjust and then also get the text out.
Well, so it sounds like, and I would hope this were the case, that at least with this format, we're starting with a blank stage, to use that metaphor, that you guys can really just, you don't have all of those impositions or limitations, and you can really just focus on the story. I mean, I won't claim to be any kind of expert about this play, but it was so fascinating to hear the clarity brought to life of the relationship between Helena and Hermia, and just what their relationship had been like, in their younger days, and then Helena turning on Hermia, and all this kind of stuff. And that's, you only get that if the actors are making text clear, and it's not muddied up, with hair pulling or pushing or whatever. So I thought it was really, again, I really love how clear you guys were able to make all the relationships and the dynamics. I'll mention, since we still have a number of people, if you guys listening have any questions, you can either raise your hand. There is a little Zoom Zoom feature to raise your digital hand, or you can put questions in the Zoom chat box, and we can take some of those. But yeah, I'm sure with this group we could just kind of keep chatting all evening, but just wanted to give some other people a chance to ask any questions if they did have any.
Can they put their cameras on?
They could if they'd like to. Yeah, the stage is large enough. We can accommodate more. So yeah, if people want to put their camera on and ask a question, that's certainly fine too. As people are either thinking of questions or whatnot, I want to ask, because some people may not know, part of the focus of these workshops is to connect actors, whether they're in the beginning decade of their career or new to acting, to connect them with people that have been working in this business for decades and really lifelong professionals. And so that's been really fun with this medium, that you can connect people that otherwise, due to geography or time zones or whatever, you just might not have been able to do otherwise. And so I'm curious if either Garrett or Maggie, as the actors who signed up to be part of this, your experience of getting to work with Jamie and Michael or Angie, just what it's been like for you guys to hopefully, I would think, have this experience, especially during this time, that might not have happened otherwise.
Oh, it's just been incredibly rich. As I said, working with everybody, and And Ursula too, I wanted to give a shout for the voice coaching. That was just, I mean, every single thing that comes up, it's just like, wow. I mean, wow, this is so great. Wow, this is so great. There's something else on top of it and something else on top of it. And I just learned an incredible amount.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think to echo, what Maggie said, like it's a very rich experience. And I think it's something that's like, can be very sorely lacking when you're starting a theater career of, people who have been doing this and are so experienced at it. It's just such a joy to get that experience at the table and see how somebody approaches a text or somebody approaches a note or somebody brings something to the table. And it's very valuable. I really appreciated it.
Great. I will mention again for anybody who's listening, attending, if they want to attend the other evenings, I'll just drop a link into the Zoom chat. If you want to sign up for the other evenings, we have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We have more scenes, Julius Caesar, King John, and As You Like It. Yeah, any other things come to mind for any of you guys that you wanted to share about this process or working on this? And again, if people listening have any questions, feel free to jump in.
I just want to say I've been going to the other rehearsals and they are really worth it. I hope people take advantage and go see them because they're just incredible scenes. It's really, really fun.
Well, they've been saying the same thing about this night, so it's all, yeah, everybody's in good company. They really are all wonderful scenes, and as Gideon mentioned, you just, even with wonderful actors, you see how much it grows over just a month, just meeting for a couple hours each week. It's extraordinary how much you guys all bring to it. So it's great. Well, if the audience is satiated, then that is okay too. Let's see, I'm just gonna put in one final note here. And what I can do is I can move all the actors back into the main, or I can move everybody attending into the kind of the waiting room again. But I do want to make sure that if you have a question, you feel like you had an opportunity to ask that question, and if you don't, that's okay too. But I'll just mention one more time, make sure I spelled this right. Another link I just dropped in there is the coaching link. And you can see a number of the people that are here tonight, and plus Ursula Meyer that Maggie mentioned was doing some voice coaching with us, and she's actually the head of graduate acting at UCSD, is as I heard, literally interviewing students right now over Zoom in another room for their grad program. So she was a huge help, and I'm very grateful to her. And at that link,
sorry she couldn't make it, Nathan. She really was.
Well, yes, no, she was here in spirit. But yeah, so if people are interested, they can check out that page and look at getting some time with one of the many artists we've been lucky and fortunate to work with. So all right, well, one more round of questions or call for questions. All right, people are just saying thank you, and they're looking forward to the other scene. So good. All right.
This is Danny. I haven't been able to organize myself here yet, but
hey, Danny.
I would just like to say I appreciate watching all of the parts that have happened. I had no idea what a dramaturge did until I watched Gideon this past couple of weeks doing his thing, and he did such a fabulous job of it that I thought, well, okay, am I now spoiled? But then the voice coach came in, and that made more completion. And so I thank you all for letting me be the fly on a wall to watch this stuff happening.
Well, thank you, Danny. No, we're glad that you could be part of it. And the sad truth is, Gideon probably did ruin Shakespeare for you in a good way, because you'll never hear it the same way again. I remember taking a film class in college, and they're pointing out all the different things that a director can do, and he said, "I'm sorry, you'll never be able to watch a movie the same way." So similarly, there's just so much that now you can appreciate that goes into it. So your bar for Shakespeare has been raised, which I think is a good bar.
Yes, I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. All right, well, is that it? I think that's it. Actors and artists, you guys can stay put, and I'll move everybody else into the waiting room, or as people drop off, that makes it easier too. So thank you again, everybody, for attending.
Thank you.
And
Thanks for coming.
Thanks for coming, everybody.